News Network. And you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
Thanks very much for tuning in to Unmissable. I'm Nabila Jamal, right here on News 9. I take you through news from India and across the globe. Our top story tonight is Delhi pollution. Clearly leaves us sick and embarrassed. And now the Supreme Court stepping in, wrapping the centre and the state for taking stopgap measures and not long-term ones. I'm going to take you through details as the Supreme Court also directs the government now to rethink toll plazas in Delhi city, asking for them to be suspended for at least 3 months till pollution is in control. We'll take you through all of that and also the BS6 compliance now that is mandatory. And also now on Deep Dive, we will take you through a triple murder that's taken place in Uttar Pradesh, where a father kills his 2 daughters and his wife for not wearing a burqa. We'll take you through those details. And finally, our top story on day tonight, Rahul Gandhi says that India's manufacturing has slowed down, praising Germany's. But you have the ruling government, the BJP, giving him a fact check. All that and more, the headlines first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Oman on a 2-day visit and on arrival was accorded a guard of honour. The Prime Minister is visiting at the invitation of Sultan Haytham bin Tariq and will hold talks with the country's top leadership and push an ambitious trade agreement. Calling Delhi NCR pollution curbs a total failure, the Supreme Court has flagged the situation as an annual crisis and asked CAQM to revisit long-term solutions, basically saying that whatever short-term solutions are only going to be quick fixes, what are you doing for the long term? MCD has been asked to consider suspending tolls, all the toll plazas at 9 entry points to reduce pollution for the interim at least. The Supreme Court has allowed the Delhi government to take coercive action against old vehicles that do not meet BS4 emission norms. In fact, the court has clarified that protection from action applies only to BS4 compliant or higher vehicles while hearing the MC Mehta pollution case. The IB ministry has clarified that OTT consent will remain outside the CBFC's jurisdiction under the Cinematograph Act. In a bid to crack down on obscenity and misinformation, the government enforces stricter accountability for OTT platforms, rolls out 3-tier system to safeguard children under IT rules. Goa court sends Luthra brothers to 5-day police custody in connection with the deadly Arpora nightclub fire that claimed 25 lives. The brothers were brought back from Thailand, will be questioned over safety lapses. They were seen breaking down and meeting their family members when they arrived in India. Major boost to maritime modernization. Indian Army commissions helicopter squadron INAS 335 at INS Hansa at Goa. Big moment for Indian defence. Special court will deliver its order on December 18th on the challenge to the Lokayukta's clean chit given to Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah in the Muda land allotment case. In fact, the ruling on the closure report is expected to carry major legal and political implications amid the Congress leadership tussle. The Madurai bench of the Madras High Court has pulled up senior Tamil Nadu officials for allegedly defying orders on lighting the Kartigai Deepam, rejecting law and order as a valid excuse. Justice Swaminathan demanded a responsible reply from the Chief Secretary and questioned whether the non-compliance will be under instructions. All right, let's take you through our top story tonight on Delhi pollution, and it seems like the Supreme Court has stepped in. Delhi pollution has left us sick and exposed, also frankly embarrassed. When football legend Lionel Messi visited the capital, crowds not just chanted his name, but also took that opportune moment to criticize Delhi's air quality. When Chief Minister Rekha Gupta took to the stage, you had Delhi crowds chanting AQI. Imagine the embarrassment. I'll take you through exactly what happened. Well, imagine Delhi citizens there decided to embarrass the Chief Minister on that stage. And now you have the Supreme Court stepping in, losing patience. The Supreme Court wraps the centre, asking why interim short-term measures only adopted to tackle pollution and why not long-term measures. The top court came down heavily on both the centre and the state, calling the handling of Delhi NCR's air pollution as a total failure. The message was blunt and, in fact, multiple suggestions also given at the same time. The Supreme Court bench led by Chief Justice of India Surya Kant made it clear that this crisis cannot be solved through knee-jerk short-term fixes. It needs sustained long-term thinking, not seasonal damage control. The court was hearing petitions as Delhi's air quality slipped deeper into hazardous zone, triggering emergency measures yet again. One key direction that the Supreme Court has suggested for the Municipal Corporation of Delhi to adopt within a week's time is to see whether the 9 toll plazas that it runs at Delhi's entry points can be temporarily suspended. The court noted that these toll booths cause hours of traffic jams, and vehicular emission itself is known to be 40% of the reason to why pollution levels are increasing in Delhi. Directly coming from vehicular emissions, the Supreme Court said, think about suspending these 9 toll booths or toll plazas for a few months at least until pollution is tackled. The National Highways Authority of India has also has asked to explore shifting of these toll plazas to locations that it can manage. The court even suggested that part of the toll revenue could be diverted to compensate civic bodies during the proposed 3-month suspension. Importantly, the bench called out cosmetic situations and solutions adopted, saying school closures, online classes, hybrid model, all of this are just stopgap. The court said that these only shield the children and the elderly only for temporary situations. In fact, the court says the children and the elderly are shielded temporarily, but this is not really a long-term fix. At best, they're like extending winter vacations. Meanwhile, on ground, emergency curbs are tightening. We hear the Delhi government has now decided to impose GRAP stage 3 and 4. Only BS6 compliant vehicles will now be allowed into Delhi starting tomorrow. That's 18th of December. In fact, we hear the Delhi government has decided strictly now not to allow any vehicles that are below BS6 compliant. Potentially, nearly 12 lakh vehicles will be off roads in Delhi. From 18th of December, non-Delhi BS3 and BS4 vehicles will be barred entirely. So if your vehicle is registered in Delhi, then you may be exempted. But if your vehicle is registered outside Delhi, then anything below BS6 is not allowed. Now, even PUC certificates, pollution certificate is mandatory. No valid PUC, you will not even be given fuel. And you have cameras, the ANPR cameras at these petrol bunks and signals also that will catch if your vehicle does not have a valid pollution certificate, and you could be pulled up, fined. Even petrol bunks will not give you petrol if if you are found not compliant. Cleaner fuel, be it CNG, LNG, electric, and BS6 vehicles, all of these vehicles have a green signal, even if they are commercial vehicles. So these are some hard measures that the Delhi government has taken. I'm going to take you through Manjinder Sirsa, who's a Minister of Environment, who's basically spoken imposing these rules that begin tomorrow.
भारत स्टेज 6 की जो गाड़ियां हैं, जो भारत स्टेज 6 की कंप्लायंस करती हैं, केवल जब तक हमारा ग्रैप लगा वही गाड़ियां दिल्ली में आ पाएंगी. जो पोल्यूटिंग व्हीकल्स हैं वो दिल्ली में अलाउड नहीं होंगे, दिल्ली से बाहर के व्हीकल. सो मैं फिर से कह दूं, दिल्ली से बाहर से आने वाली गाड़ियां, पोल्यूटिंग गाड़ियों को दिल्ली में एंट्री नहीं मिलेगी. आपको मिनिमम भारत स्टेज 6 कंप्लायंट व्हीकल ही दिल्ली में लाने होंगे जब तक हमारा ग्रैप लगा हुआ है.
All right, let me quickly bring in Dr. Anil Gupta, spokesperson of the BJP. Bhavreen Kandhari, environmental activist, and also Vinkesh Gulati, Vice President, Automotive Skills Development Council and former President, FADA. Thanks very much, all of you, for joining us. If I could start with Vinkesh Gulati, your take on this, BS6 compliant vehicles only allowed. So where does this leave all the taxi drivers, people, vehicles also that ply from outside Delhi NCR region into Delhi for work and whatnot? We are not too sure how long this rule will be implemented or will remain in place. But for now, at least 12 lakh vehicles will be affected. From tomorrow itself, they will not be allowed into Delhi. They'll be imposed a fine. Would you clarify and detail for us exactly what the rule says? Vinkesh? Vinkesh, can you hear me? All right, it seems like there's a connection error there. Let me bring in Dr. Anil Gupta then. Dr. Anil Gupta, why don't you give us a little more on the Delhi government's ruling here on the BS6 compliant vehicles only now allowed? Where does this leave out-of-state travelers, people coming in on a on a daily basis to work in Delhi with cars that are BS4 or BS5 compliant, not BS6?
Yeah, good evening to you and all the viewers. We have been regularly debating about the air pollution in Delhi. And now when the government takes some measures, we start debating about the livelihood of some persons. Delhi government is already compensating to the construction workers by depositing 10,000 rupees in their account. And because of a study which says that particular matter 2.5, the major source is the vehicular pollution. Vehicular pollution is the major source of PM 2.5. Some strict measures need to be taken. And Delhi government has taken these measures and they will be implemented tomorrow. Practically, government is not have the intention of giving hardship to anybody, but keeping in view the no wind condition in Delhi and the severe air quality, these measures are taken. Already, Honorable Supreme Court has ruled today, and Honorable Supreme Court has mentioned what we have been telling, that it will take a few years to clean up the mess. We are hardly 10 months old in Delhi, and we have taken some measures for particular matter PM10. Already for dust mitigation, so many measures are taken. We are removing all this dust. And for PM 2.5, which is presently the major source, all these measures are taken and long-term policy will be done. Already, Delhi government has formed an expert committee which will submit all the details and expert reports in 2 months. For long-term measures, we will abide that. And these are the temporary measures, but for emergency situation, the government is taking these measures. Yeah.
Okay. Ma'am, would you want to comment on this? Bhavreen Kandhari, do you believe that this BS6 compliant vehicles only allowed into Delhi will make a huge difference?
Yes, of course. I mean, everything adds up. I don't know huge or not, but yes, it's a good bold step. But we have to understand that any kind of temporary bans, it could be vehicles or construction, demolition, they only respond to emergencies, and not the root causes. So that is something that the decisions further to this should be for the whole year, because we are in an emergency and we should not think that, okay, it's a matter of 2 weeks and 3 weeks or 2 months now, and then when we don't see the smog, everything is over. We are still living in a very, very polluted, toxic, air. So that means, you have to, bring in the real systemic, changes, systemic action, a policy, a strong policy, bold policy. You cannot, I do agree, you cannot, deny development, etc. But you have to slow it down. You cannot make those mistakes that have been done for the last 10 years when you started constructing the 7G PRA, or you brought in some, false incorrect policies on vehicles as well. Now you could be introducing congestion taxes, emission taxes. You could be bringing in low emission zones. Those are the kind of decisions. So that, and simultaneously, you cannot do this because your citizens. You have to simultaneously give them a very good public transport. And for public transport, you need valid spaces, which are at present everything is encroached. The whole of Delhi, which I always say, is become a parking lot now. So all that misgovernance and the laxity will have to be taken on a war footing, and then things will start showing up now on and what I do agree with Dr. Gupta, and also with the minister, when he's saying that yes, these changes are not going to show results overnight. It's not, and it should not. It takes months and a couple of years for this to reflect. But when we do those optics, which people also probably like to see, sprinklers and smog towers, and now some purifiers in the parks, etc. Those kind of things, they're just going to waste a lot of time again, lot of
How much of the pollution
money.
comes from vehicular emission? Could you elaborate for us? We know 40% of it comes from vehicular emission, and vehicles that control pollution or don't pollute as much, if they're allowed and the rest are moved out, do you think that will bring down pollution drastically by 40%? Is that going to have a direct impact?
You're asking me?
I was still speaking with Ms. Bhavreen, but you can also come in.
Sorry, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry. Yes, the clean fuel will definitely help. Whether it's a cleaner fuel, or when you transforming all your public transport into electric, these are the kind of decisions which will maybe more than 40% also. So, but reducing the private vehicles is going to be the key, and that is going to be only on the basis of like all these various things that I said just now. That you'll have to curb. Make it difficult, at the same time provide citizens the options of very good public transport. I mean, when we were growing up in the younger years, we saw these chartered buses, which were fantastic buses, with all the facilities, and the whole office used to go in one bus, from one area. No, we don't see all that anymore. Everybody has an individual vehicle. So, you'll have to bring these.
Okay, but now we've come too far along from there. The roads are being made for cars to ply on. So vehicles are there. No matter how much we urge people to use public transport, unless our public transport is robust enough, which our BJP spokesperson can tell us how far are we going to ensure more accessible public transport. And Delhi, in fact, has always had good public transport, for that matter. The fact is, it's overcrowded. People are using public transport.
We are very short
but we can't ignore the fact that Delhi is just also overpopulated. So where can you really trim corners? It's very difficult to really put a finger on that. But a quick one from Akhil Ghai. I haven't introduced you earlier. I apologize for that. Akhil Ghai, who's an automobile expert. Akhil, why don't you tell us on BS4, BS5 compliant vehicles now being banned, only BS6 being allowed. Do you believe that will significantly reduce pollution? And also describe for us and our viewers, what is BS6 compliant?
First of all, thank you, Nabila, for having me here in your show, and a very good evening to everyone. So, I personally feel that only stopping the B4 vehicles will not curb the pollution. And I think more of the efforts, because there is a lot of construction also going on. So me being from the automobile industry, I would definitely say that it is not just automobiles. It is also the construction and these illegal vehicles which are coming in Delhi, which are entering in Delhi. So that is also a very significant problem.
BS6 compliant. What exactly are the norms for BS6?
So see, BS6 is it's an emission norm, as simple as that. So when we talk about these emission norms, there has to be some. There are certain parameters which are taken care when we manufacture the vehicle. So when we talk about internal combustion engine, just a minute.
As old or new should a BS6 be?
Can you give me a second? My screen is
Yeah.
completely
No worries.
out.
You take your time. I'll bring in the BJP spokesperson in the meanwhile. Sir, I know that there are harsh steps being taken, Anil Gupta, but at the same time, the Supreme Court today wrapping the state and the centre must have left you embarrassed. You have the centre also, the BJP governing the state now, the BJP. So some stricter measures should have been taken, is what the Supreme Court says. Why only stopgap? How far can you make work from home for offices and online classes for children? That's just a prolonged winter vacation, and that can't happen every time. Harsh decision, or rather a strong decision must be taken for the long term. So has it not come as an embarrassment for the government today, for the double engine Sarkar?
We respect the judgment given by the Honorable Court and we will abide by that. It isn't an embarrassment, but it is, what we have been telling in the last 1 or 2 months. I think that validate our stand that pollution is not a one day. Cleaning the pollution is not a one day job. We always mentioned it will take few years. We have taken some measures for dust mitigation. Now we are coming hard on the vehicular pollution. We have always been mentioning that long-term solutions, long-term steps are needed. Already an expert committee of the renowned professors of IITs from science departments, from medical science have been constituted. And even I request Madam Bhavrinji to at least write to that expert committee so that long-term solution can be. And it is not an embarrassment, but it is a welcome. And yesterday only, Delhi government took some harsh step. I personally call it harsh because some step definitely gives inconvenience to some of the citizens. But
When
as
will we
compared
see?
to
When will Delhi see some measurable year-round solution? Anything that we'll see soon? Because Manjinder Singh Sirsa also said pollution is not going to reduce anytime soon.
Yeah, I mentioned in the previous debate also that it will take at least 2-3 years. If you allow me, I give step by step. We are working very hard on the dust mitigation. Now we are coming on the vehicular pollution also. It is a known fact that for particulate matter PM10, dust is the major source. For PM2.5 and less than that, vehicular is one of the major source. Now we are working on this and the removal of the toll and the road traffic jam and all these things. We inherited all these things. It must be admitted Delhi population density is highest in the country. Rough estimate, Delhi has a land area of roughly 2,400 to 2,500 square kilometer with a population of more than 3 crores. One of the two districts of Delhi are the highest populous district in the country. And they are the issues. We still have not come into analyze the home pollution. That is also a source. And second, the natural things. For last 2-3 days, the wind was, negligible. It was 0 to 2 or 5. So dispersion was not there. So but we cannot blame the nature. But we have to find out our own sources.
Yeah.
It is a truth that from February to August, Delhi got good air, but from October it started in a bad shape. Then November and this thing. But still, if you compare the AQI of this year with the previous 10 years, it is roughly 50 to 60 points better. I don't claim it is a credit, but I don't say that it is a good year, it is a severe. But with the efforts being done by the Rekha Gupta government, we have come something on the dust mitigation, we have reduced it, but still more to be done. It is admitted. And I think with the recommendation of the expert committee, with all these good citizens, the things will be implemented in the near future, and we hope to clean it in 2-3 years. That is, I think we can do that. Yeah.
So you're basic. What about all the taxi drivers who come in? You know, You did say that we can't worry about
already.
livelihood. Also is a concern, but any way
No,
that the government intends to support them.
It is a valid question. Already for construction workers, the already government has announced rupees 10,000 that will go as DBT, and whoever will be affected from the taxi or driver, I think government will definitely think over this, because government is very sensitive to the citizen of the Delhi.
Okay, you said 10,000
for construction workers. Already government has announced
and the
yesterday.
cab drivers who lose out.
I'm telling you, it has not been announced. It is not, but I think government is very sensitive to the citizen of the country. Delhi will do something as been done to the construction workers.
Okay, so this rule comes into play tomorrow itself, 18th of December. So we're expecting to see how many lakh vehicles down on the roads?
I cannot comment on that if you are asking me.
Yeah, roughly.
Because I'm not an expert in that.
Okay. Let me bring in Akhil Guy. Akhil, tell us a little more about BS6 compliant vehicles. Also, now we're going to see, rough estimate we hear, nearly 2-3 lakh odd vehicles will go off the roads of Delhi. Is this the right solution, right way forward?
So primarily the basic difference between BS4 and BS6 is that particles per meter is 10 when we talk about BS4 fuel, BS6. So emission is lesser. It has less ppm, that is only 10. But when we talk about BS4, it has 50 ppm. Permissible ppm is 50. So there is a significant difference in particulate matter, what you can say, in terms of emission. But as I already said, that it is not the only reason for the pollution. As Sir also was saying, that it is more of a dust also, and we have been constructing since ages and ages, and it is not stopping. So we have to primarily also look at this matter, that we have to somewhere stop this construction of concrete around the Delhi, and we are expanding every day by kilometers, and we are constructing, unstoppably constructing, and that is what is increasing, because Delhi is surrounded by high rises and massive construction is going on in the circumference of Delhi, and that is the reason that from wherever the pollution is coming, from wherever the air will come, it will bring in the particulate matter and it will collect it in the city, and that will become the reason of and especially in this weather when we have a lot of moisture in the air.
So then in your view and expertise, what's the solution?
See, the solution will be definite. It is one part is that yes, of course, we have to stop or limit the vehicular movement by limiting B4 vehicles and probably stopping commercial vehicles to enter in Delhi. If they are not required in Delhi, they have to take bypass. But we also have to look at the other sides also, that, as I said, we have to bring in some limit to construction also. And there has to be certain standard of doing construction, that it has to be covered from all the sides, so that the particulate matter is not scattered in when we go on the streets. You can find sand lying on the streets, on the construction zones. So we have to do, not just by stopping the vehicle, it will not stop.
Bhavrin, can you hear me?
Yeah. Somehow the sound is just going and coming. Sorry. So can I just add, Damina, because we're talking about vehicles, and so that means we're concentrating on PM 2.5. So as of today, I'll tell you that we have at least we're a small group of citizens. It's not like we're hundreds and millions, but I have more than about 30 complaints, industrial pollution coming from various, and not only Delhi, the outskirts of Delhi, the borders, in Gurugram, from Tikri, they're burning plastics, from Bahadurgarh. So we have to understand that this is a very big every source of pollution will have to be worked on. Every source, you cannot compare. And this debate of which is more and less, I think that needs to go out. It's waste of time, and we are just sometimes I feel it's strategic to make citizens and people only keep discussing this, because we are in the most polluted capital of the world, and every source of pollution must be worked on. And so that means somehow we are not looking at the industrial. There are complaints that are repeated every day, every week. There are threads for years of the same complaint, of which a same family is complaining, or a individual is complaining, and they don't get corrected, rectified.
No, just a little clarification that people have is on the NCR region definition. So, so the BS6 and below will not be allowed inside Delhi NCR region. So does that also mean vehicles coming in from Noida and Gurgaon are also out if they aren't BS6 compliant? Dr. Anil, would you have an idea?
I think whatever Honorable Minister has told is for Delhi entry and exit from Delhi. Delhi points, I mean the petrol pumps in Delhi, they will not get the fuels, and entry into Delhi, that is what the Honorable Minister has mentioned.
So basically, both entry points coming from Gurgaon side and Noida side, it will limit vehicles that are not BS6 compliant.
See, Nabila, just in one day, the discussion has shifted. Last day we were discussing about the source and everything. Now we are discussing why these measures are taken. I think, as Madam has told, we have to work on all the sources. It is a fact, be it vehicle, be it industry, be it dust, be it roads, whatever that may be. And government is taking, because for last 2-3 days, the AQI is in severe conditions. And one more thing, in AQI, 8 parameters are there. Now it has been identified that the major culprit is PM 2.5 and 10. The 6 parameters are within control round the year. So now, particular matter is the main issue.
Yeah.
And the source of that is find out. Now we have to take measures.
Okay.
Already I mentioned
so you've taken your measures. We're going to see how impactful it will be on the ground. I suppose that BS6 and below compliant vehicles, even from Noida and Gurgaon, are not going to be entertained. And I also will surely stress that the government is also going to go by year to see how far this will help pollution levels to be brought down, and then decide how long they want to prolong this compliance norm. The GRAP 4, GRAP 5 decision that's been implemented, that includes not just at this point BS6 vehicles only, but also 50% work from home and no construction activity. So harsh decision that the government has taken, even though business will face a lot of losses, but this is about time that Delhi air and people's health becomes priority. Thanks very much all of you for joining us with that. We're slipping into a short break. We'll be right back on the other side. And a devastating story coming in from UP. A father murders his wife and 2 children, 2 girls, for not wearing a burqa. More details up next.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा से लोन लेना एक मास्टर स्ट्रोक है।
ये बेस्ट है सर।
हमेशा वाला क्यों नहीं?
मिश्रा जी, आपके लिए फूलों की बरसात, बिरला ओपस एश्योरेंस देने के लिए।
मतलब प्रोडक्ट वारंटी?
ये एक्स्ट्रा है। 1 साल में पेंट को कुछ भी हुआ तो पेंटिंग वापस करके देंगे।
वापस करके देंगे?
वो भी फ्री। पेंटिंग में पहली बार बिरला ओपस एश्योरेंस। रजिस्टर करो birlaopus.com पर।
Okay, 2026, take notes. Manifesting. More bubbles, less troubles. For my little Miss Sunshine, tickles and giggles. Also want to be a biker chick this time. Vroom, vroom.
Allah. Merci beaucoup.
And year 2026, only love for my people and myself. To manifest my best life, nature's cosmic energy. Now mine, natural diamond intention pendants.
A resurgent India is racing towards the Viksit Bharat goal, braving global economic headwinds.
Bulletproofing our economy from these uncertainties are Bharat's homegrown businesses.
Powered by tech-led innovation, Indian entrepreneurs are truly scaling up, riding the next wave of disruption with AI and cloud to break into the big global league. TV9 Network in association with SAP presents Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, a series celebrating inspirational business leaders shaping tomorrow. Watch them take an iconic leap at Visionaries of Viksit Bharat conclaves. Exclusively on News 9.
He's brilliant, लेकिन अक्सर बहुत टायर्ड हो जाता है। मैं क्या करूं?
2 स्पून काफी है। ये प्रॉब्लम दूर करने के लिए लायन डेट सिरप। इसमें आयरन, फाइबर्स, विटामिन्स और किसी भी बीमारी से लड़ने की ताकत बहुत ज्यादा है। रोजाना 2 स्पून लायन डेट सिरप हल्के गर्म दूध में भी मिलाकर पी सकते हैं। लायन डेट सिरप रोजाना 2 स्पून।
अपनी सुपर पावर यूज करने का टाइम आ गया।
आप टेंशन मत लीजिए। IIFL फाइनेंस से झटपट गोल्ड लोन लीजिए और बिजनेस आगे बढ़ाइए।
लाइफ जब भी आगे बढ़ने का मौका दे, अपनी सुपर पावर, अपना गोल्ड यूज करिए और IIFL फाइनेंस से गोल्ड लोन लीजिए।
IIFL फाइनेंस करता है सीधी बात।
Welcome back. Well, tonight we're talking about murder. There's no belief or religion attached to this. In Uttar Pradesh's Shamli, a man has killed his wife and his 2 daughters. Police say the trigger was a dispute over the woman not wearing a burqa. This man on our screens here was enraged that his wife and his children did not wear the burqa, and therefore, after a huge fight, he decides to kill all of them. The accused Farooq murdered them inside his own home, dug pits and then buried their bodies there as well. The crime came to light only after neighbours reported the family missing. He's now in custody. Police have called it a clear case of domestic violence and honour killing. Let's be very clear, no religion permits violence, let alone murder. No faith authorizes any kind of violence. And to this nature, this looks nothing short of a man who's lost his mind and has justified religion for his violence. Well, we know no tradition gives a man the right to decide whether a woman lives or dies, especially what a woman should wear or not. What's most disturbing here is that this happened inside the house of the very family, a place that is really meant to be home, a safe place for women, for children. That's exactly where the husband decides to kill them and bury them inside that same house. Well, what we see here is that a piece of cloth, a piece of attire, or rather clothing itself, has been a flashpoint for this man here and his family. The burqa, which is ideally not even a compulsion in the religion itself, in Islam, has become such a point of conflict that the man decides he wants to kill his wife and children for not wearing it. I'm going to bring in our guests on board to give us a little sense, definitely not justifying this. This is certainly horrific what's happened here. The man killing his wife and children just because they decided not to wear a burqa. But what does the religion also say about face covering? Let me bring in Zafar Sareshwala, who's a former Chancellor, Maulana Azad National Urdu University. We also have Brinda Adige, who's a women's rights activist. I'll start with Brinda. Brinda, a man killing his wife and 2 children for not wearing a burqa, basically enforcing an attire on them, and when they refused to, and that too we hear the lady wanted to go to her mother's house, but refused to wear a burqa. And here's what's happened. The man hacks them to death and buries them in the same house. He thought he'd get away with it. And this case has now come to light. How far do we see men imposing their views on their wives and children? How often do we see this?
We see this almost every day. It is just that many cases don't come to light and they do not get debated and discussed. But the moot point over here is, on and off, we have heard people, leaders, religious leaders, especially from Islam, saying that it is the choice of the woman to cover her face, to wear a burqa, to wear a hijab, and that is her complete choice, which Islam also gives it to her. Now, if that is done, how is it that men are not educated in Islam, that this is the choice of a woman? And she chooses it either as a religious symbol and identity, or as a cultural symbol and identity. Either ways, it is the woman's choice. But this is the kind of toxic masculinity that most men grow up with and internalize it. Sadly, in this particular case and in many others, we also have the family members abetting and encouraging and prompting, saying, yes, that's the right thing to do, because he couldn't have done this by himself. How did he get hold of a gun? Okay, you shot your wife and your 2 children. How did you bury them inside the house? How was it kept silent and confidential and a secret for such a long time? So we need to place the blame and hold everybody accountable for it, especially religious leaders who are unwilling for men to think critically and look at these issues progressively, where a woman's agency is nullified, which is not Islam at all.
Absolutely. You know, and as much as we say, a lot of times I've heard people saying that it is her choice. This is her choice. You know, she decides to wear what she wants to wear. But let's be honest, we've seen enough and more subtle peer pressure. Even though women themselves say that I'm wearing it out of my own will, I know for a fact, I come from the same community, that there is pressure, tacit pressure, and, you know, a psychological play that if you don't do it, you're sinning, you know, and a level of acceptance within the family if you do it, and if you don't, then you're treated a certain way. So that all of that acts as coercion.
You're absolutely right. That kind of coercion is both tacit as well as overt. But even beyond all of it, we still know that there are individual families. In the families themselves, you might have a father, or you might have a grandmother or a mother who says that I will stand by you. But most often we don't have somebody in the family standing by the side of this woman who wants to make a choice otherwise. But everything said and done again, why is it that the entire communities, the entire families have this in their head that a woman is the only one who has to safeguard the family's honor? And that is not only in Islam. It is in every religion. It is in every culture, in every caste. It is the woman who has to safeguard, uphold the prestige and the honor of the family. And that, I think, is the patriarchal, misogynistic, sexist burden that women are forced to carry.
You know, Zafar Sareshwala is, and he's a scholar in his own right, and he's studied and knows the religion very well and seen it very closely. And he's spoken to me earlier as well on this issue, and says that the biggest crime and sin in the religion of Islam is to force. Zafar Sareshwala, why don't you give us your view on the father killing his wife and 2 children? Of course, murder is not justified, violence is not justified, but the moot question here is the pressure that women face within the community to cover their face, their hair. You know, okay, hijab is still acceptable, and Islam endorses it. They say the Quran also says dress modestly. But what is dressing modestly? Give us a little understanding on what does it mean by dress modestly in the Quran, because there's no real mention of the word burqa or niqab or none of that. It just says dress modestly. It doesn't even say that you have to cover your face, but still women are doing it, a lot of them out of pressure.
See, Nabila, first of all, about this grave incident in UP, I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, strictest punishment should be given to this husband. I mean, that I would request the authorities that there should be a fast-track court, and an example should be set. Now, coming to your moot question, see, Quran talks about modesty. Nowhere in Quran the word niqab or covering of the face is mentioned. Quran talks of modesty, and modesty not only for a woman. The verse which talks about parda or modesty, it addresses both men and women. Even a man has to have a modest dress. There is a dress code. Like, for example, you don't show your body contours and all that. So it is for men as well as women. But the problem here is, why this kind of murderer come up in our society. And I'll talk about my community, because I feel that this disease of misogynistic and masculinity is there in my community. And the problem starts from the Islamic clerics. I've been fighting with them since years. The problem, Nabila, is that even the rights which are enshrined in Quran, which are enshrined in Sharia to the woman, even those rights are not implemented in our society today.
And I would also intervene for a moment. As much as there's the Quran speaks about modesty for women, it speaks about modesty with men as well. Men also have a certain way that they should dress. According to the Quran, it says even men should dress a certain way, not just women. Women have been given all the rights and dignity in the religion. As far as we go by the book, I'm not going by the clerics. You go by the book, you have clear directions on how a woman should be and how a man should be. How a man should be with a woman. A man should not even look at the woman eye to eye and speak. A man should always lower the gaze. But where do we see men following these rules that are etched in the book? Hardly ever. But they expect the women to follow it.
Yeah, very, very clearly Quran says, Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu ghadde basar. Hey, iman walo apni nigaahon ko niche karo. You cannot gaze at a woman. So there are more orders for a man when treating with the woman. So it is equal. Now the problem which I'm talking, right from marriage, we cheat the woman. For example, in Islam, we don't have jahez, dowry. We have meher. But you tell me, which Muslim family today gives that right of meher to the woman? In times of second Khalif, Hazrat Umar, the condition that women were asking X, Y, Z amount things as meher. So Hazrat Umar, the second Khalif, wanted to control that you cannot go beyond this. One woman, she stood up in the court of Hazrat Umar and she said, "Oh Umar, you are controlling on us which the Prophet has given to us. The right which have been enshrined in Sharia and given by the Prophet. How can you stop that?" And Hazrat Umar immediately stood up and he said, "I am wrong." And he said, "I am wrong. This is the fundamental right of the woman." Take divorce, for example. How badly a Muslim man and the Muslim family treats a divorced woman. On the contrary, in Quran, divorce is a process. It was never in one sitting. And coming to that moot question where a lot of Islamic clerics have been talking that there is no maintenance in Islam. On the contrary, it is dignity and honor of the woman who's divorced, which says in Quran, the surah which talks about divorce. Lastly, it says that when jab rukhsat karo usko, when everything is finished and now you leave that woman, you leave her with the word which Quran has used is marufa. Marufa means actually dignity and honor is a very low equivalent of that. So are we doing that? So unfortunately,
so you're saying despite all the honor given to women in Islam, you're seeing more misogyny than anything, and it's practiced thanks to the clerics that kind of perpetuate it. That's what you say. But a quick and final word, as I'm short on time here. Does Islam mandate a burqa? As far as I'm knowledgeable, or whatever my knowledge allows me to think, I can tell you there's no mention of the word burqa at all. It just says dress modestly. Then why do women cover their faces?
See, Quran does not, as I said earlier, Quran doesn't mention anything about niqab. But even now, large number of Islamic scholars since more than 1,000 years have been saying that the covering of the face is not mandatory at all.
Okay.
There are certain scholars who say this, but it is, in my opinion, it is more to do with the culture of the area.
What culture? India does not have that culture, but you have women in India covering the full face. Let's take the Nitish Kumar controversy, though what Nitish Kumar did was not right at all. His approach was absolutely wrong and condemnable. But at the same time, he asked her to show her face, which is not a reasonable ask. Unreasonable ask.
Actually, what Mr. Nitish Kumar did was absolutely horrendous. I mean, no woman you can touch. It is her dignity.
I agree.
You asked her. You could have asked her to remove her face. But yes, as I said, that with modesty, with covering of the hair, you know, the hijab, I think it is normal. And now, you know, countries like Saudi Arabia and the GCC countries, which are Islamic countries, even there they've removed this condition now. A woman can have a full niqab or a hijab or totally uncovered.
Yeah.
So Islam is very flexible in this. If somebody wants to do it, okay, you do it, but you cannot force. And Islam very clearly, Quran mentions, La ikraha fid deen. There is no compulsion in religion. When you cannot force your children to pray 5 times a day, then where is the compulsion for covering the face?
Correct.
So Islam talks of that. And also Prophet in one hadith says to one of his companions that make religion easier for people, not difficult. लोगों के लिए दीन आसान करके पेश करो,
but that's far from what's being followed, and it's just sad that we saw this fate, and I really thought it was important for us to discuss, for the only reason because I know I am privy to the fact that men in households force their women to wear the hijab, wear the niqab. They force them to wear the burqa. As much as many of them also wear it out of their own will, there are that many and maybe more who are forced into it. So we've got to stop that, and this should be a stark reminder. Thanks very much, Brinda and Zafar Sareshwala, for joining us. All right, a quick look at all our top stories on Day Tonight. Let's start with Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi sparks yet another political storm during his foreign visit, this time in Germany. Currently in Munich, Gandhi visited an automobile manufacturing plant of BMW and posed a video on Instagram questioning the state of manufacturing in India, praising that in Germany, he says, in India, manufacturing has slowed down. In a video, Gandhi says manufacturing is a backbone of strong economies, but claimed that India's manufacturing is now on a decline. He argued that to accelerate growth, India needs stronger manufacturing ecosystems and large-scale, high-quality job creation. The remarks quickly triggered a sharp response from the BJP, which had anticipated criticism during his overseas tour. BJP spokesperson Pradeep Bhandari dismissed Gandhi's claims as fake news, countered them with data. In a post, Bhandari said that India has seen 495% growth in electronic manufacturing over the last decade and a 760% rise in electronic exports. On automobiles, he said indigenous vehicle production has surged 14 times since 1991, from 2 million units then to 28 million units in 2024, marking a 1,300% increase. The BJP further said that India is targeting 50 million vehicles by 2030 and 200 million by 2047, aiming to become one of the top 2 automotive manufacturing units globally. Let's listen in though what Rahul Gandhi had said.
Declining, it should actually. India needs to start producing. Production is the key for the success of any country. And our manufacturing is declining. It should actually be going up.
Well, that said, Rahul Gandhi, however, praised Indian engineering, highlighting TVS's 450cc motorcycle developed in partnership with BMW as a proud moment for Indian manufacturing. Gandhi's comments abroad once again has reignited a fierce political battle back home. All right, let me cut across to adulteration now that it seems like the food safety body has now taken note of. First it was paneer, then soya chaap. Now even the milk in your morning tea and the khoya in festive sweets may not be safe. Food safety concerns are growing and the national regulator has stepped in. Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI, has ordered a nationwide crackdown on adulterated milk and dairy products. All states and union territories have been asked to launch a specific enforcement drive immediately because officials say adulteration and misbranding of milk, paneer and khoya are increasing, and this directly threatens public health. Under this drive, food safety officers will conduct intensive checks at production units, storage facilities and retail shops. This includes licensed and unlicensed operators. Samples will be collected, licenses will be verified and authorities will trace where adulteration is happening. Where violations are found, strict action has been ordered now. License cancellation has been ordered, product seizure and recalls, and even closure of illegal units. States must also submit regular reports and update checks in real time as well. The Karnataka government has now sent out a tough message to private schools. Kannada is compulsory in Karnataka and there's no exception. Education Minister Madhu Bangarappa has told the Legislative Council that all private schools must follow the Kannada Language Learning Act. This applies to CBSE, ICSE, IB and IGCSE schools. No board is exempt from this. The minister has said law has been in place for years, yet many schools continue to ignore it. It warned that inspections are ongoing. Notices have been issued and strict action will follow against violators. The warning comes after two Bengaluru schools, Bengaluru International School in Domasandra and Gare Innovative School in Dodda Kanahalli, were penalized for not meeting Kannada teaching norms. BJP MLC N. Ravi, in fact, questioned why action was taken only against two schools. He says many schools, private institutions, barely teach Kannada, leaving students unable to read the language. The government, though, responded by reiterating that Kannada must be taught as either the first or the second language itself, and schools must submit a written undertaking to get their recognition reviewed. Whether they comply with it, we've got to wait and watch.
ಶಾಲೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎರಡೇ ಶಾಲೆನ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆನೂ ಕಲಿಸಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಬಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮುಚ್ಚಳಿಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅವ್ರ ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆಯನ್ನು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ತೀಕ್ಷ್ಣವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಿರ್ದಾಕ್ಷಿಣ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಒಂದು
High drama in the Karnataka Legislative Council today over the use of loudspeakers for azan. In Karnataka, the BJP has now demanded a ban on loudspeakers for azan, citing noise pollution and Supreme Court's guidelines on sound limits. The issue was raised by BJP MLC D.S. Arun, who said the call to prayer from a mosque near his home in Shivamogga was causing regular disturbance to his family. Soon after, the BJP members, including C.T. Ravi, joined the protest, accusing the state government of selective enforcement. They claim that DJ music is restricted during Ganesh festivals while mosque loudspeakers continue through the year. The government hit back. Forest Minister Ishwar Khandre has said noise pollution is not limited to one community and occurs during weddings, Deepavali and other festivals as well. The debate disrupted proceedings, forcing Chairperson Basuraj Horatti to step in and seek a clear response. In fact, Khandre has clarified that Supreme Court directions are already being followed. He said, in fact, designated officers now will handle noise complaints and a committee led by the local deputy SP will measure decibel levels as well. Strict action will be taken, he says, and violations will be dealt with. All right, now doctors in Bengaluru are sounding the alarm over a sharp rise in pollution-related illnesses over the past 2 to 3 weeks, and they are linking it directly to the city's worsening air quality. Hospitals in Bengaluru are seeing more children, senior citizens and people with existing health issues coming in with breathing and allergy problems. General physicians and lung specialists report at least a 20 to 30% jump in cases of cough, breathlessness, wheezing, throat irritation and allergies in Bengaluru city. Doctors say symptoms are lasting longer, hitting harder and in some cases even requiring hospitalization and oxygen support. Eye doctors are also flagging a surge in eye irritation and allergic conjunctivitis caused by prolonged exposure to polluted air. So Bengaluru, as much as the air looks great and feels great, it seems like pollution is on the rise in the city. The Karnataka State Pollution Control Board says Bengaluru's air quality index is largely in satisfactory to moderate range, but dangerous particulate matter, the PM2.5 and PM10 remain a serious concern. Pollen is the worst possibly in Bengaluru. Doctors are urging residents to take precautions now, avoid early morning walks on high pollution days and wear N95 masks before stepping out. And also advise to stay hydrated and eat nutritious food. Be safe. All right, that's it for me here. Thanks very much for watching.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा से लोन लेना एक मास्टर स्ट्रोक है.
A resurgent India is racing towards the Viksit Bharat goal braving global economic headwinds.
Bulletproofing our economy from these uncertainties are Bharat's homegrown businesses. Powered by tech-led innovation, Indian entrepreneurs are truly scaling up, riding the next wave of disruption with AI and cloud to break into the big global league. TV9 Network in association with SAP presents Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, a series celebrating inspirational business leaders shaping tomorrow. Watch them take an iconic leap at Visionaries of Viksit Bharat conclaves. Exclusively on News 9.
Our honorary speaker, Rupa Kudva, whose journey across the boardrooms and as Chief Executive Officer of CRISIL has steered innovation. Her book, Leadership Beyond the Playbook, has established her as the country's foremost business leader. Eastern India's first Business and Economy Literature Fest 2025. 20th and 21st of December, Taj Tal Kutir, Kolkata.
Presented by EIILM Kolkata. Associate sponsor, Bama Lorry, Mukhorochuk, Alliance Broadband, Priyagopal Bishoi, and ChatGPT.
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News 9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News 9's pick of the week, don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News 9's pastry is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
Being a chef, it's my priority to deliver taste in a plate with good presentation, unique innovation. You need to explore, you need to experiment.
You observe the people, make them happy, make them feel happy, and in the end you are smiling. That's the most important thing.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
PM Modi arrives in Muscat on final leg of three-nation visit marking 70 years of India-Oman ties. PM receives ceremonial welcome, meets Sultan Haitham bin Tariq of Oman. Massive fire breaks out on encroached land behind Kolkata's New Town Eco Park, gutting several temporary huts. Fire tenders rush to the scene. After Mathura accident that killed 19, UP CM Yogi Adityanath imposes 60 km/h speed limit on Agra and Purvanchal expressways. Heavy fines to be enforced for violators. Supreme Court calls Delhi government's pollution control measures the total failure. AQI remains in severe category. Top court asks CAQM to revisit long-term solutions. SA modifies order on old cars, allows action against end-of-life vehicles below BS4 emission standards. Goa court remands Luthra brothers to 5-day police custody in connection with the Arpora nightclub fire that killed 25 people. Crackdown on obscenity and misinformation. Government enforces stricter accountability for OTT platforms. Rolls out 3-tier system to safeguard children. Warner Brothers Discovery rejects Paramount Skydance's $108.4 billion takeover bid, citing lack of credible financing. Board says investors were misled and bid carries significant risks. Fog plays spoil sport as poor visibility and smog force cancellation of 4th India-South Africa T20 International in Lucknow's Ekana Stadium after 6th inspection. Teams now head to Ahmedabad, where South Africa to get last chance to level the T20 series. Hello and thank you for tuning into News 9 viewers. I'm Deepak Suresh Kumar. First up, we have some big breaking news coming in from Kolkata. Major fire broke out on an encroached land behind Eco Park in New Town, Kolkata earlier today, engulfing the entire area and destroying several temporary huts. The fire spread rapidly through the makeshift structures, triggering panic in the area, and fire tenders were rushed to the spot and are currently working to bring the blazes under control. Fortunately, so far no injuries have been reported, and the cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained, and further details are awaited as firefighting operations continue. These are the pictures that you can see on your screens, viewers. This is how an encroached land behind Eco Park in Kolkata completely went up in flames. There you can see the fire lighting up the night skies and thick black plumes of smoke also visible. And as we speak, viewers, the firefighting operations are currently underway. And what we know so far is that no injuries have been reported, no casualties have been reported. And on your screens, you can see the firefighting operations are continuing on a war footing. All those who were part of this particular temporary huts who were residing in this particular region have been evacuated safely, and no injuries or casualties have been reported. These are the thick black plumes of smoke that you can see that's emanating from this particular encroached land. This was allegedly an encroached land in Kolkata where the fire erupted, but so far the reason for fire has not yet been known. So the firefighting teams are first racing against time to bring the blazes under control, and after that there will be an inquiry and investigation as to how the fire erupted and what is the cause for the fire that has completely gutted these temporary huts that were situated at this particular Eco Park in New Town of Kolkata. Fortunately, no casualties or injuries have been reported. Everybody who was residing there have been safely evacuated, and within no time, the firefighters also reached the spot and they're trying to douse these flames, and onlookers are watching these operations. There you can see several of them standing by and waiting for the fires to be doused. But the primary reason for the fire, whether it was because of a short circuit or whether it was a deliberate attempt by unknown individuals, that is something that remains to be seen, because the investigation is currently underway to ascertain the cause for the fire that has engulfed the entire area in New Town. This is the Eco Park that we're talking about. There was an encroached land behind Eco Park in New Town that went up in flames, and the cause for the fire is being investigated. Viewers, Delhi is gasping under toxic air, and the government has taken strict emergency measures to combat the worsening pollution crisis. Starting tomorrow, the Delhi government has mandated all private and government institutions to ensure that 50% of their workforce works from home or they will face penalties. This comes under the GRAP 3 and GRAP 4 emergency plans to curb rising pollution levels. Labour Minister Kapil Mishra announced that registered construction workers affected by halted activities will receive 10,000 rupees as compensation. Now, essential services like hospitals,